Think redlining died in the 1960s? Think again. Redlining never stopped. It just got rebranded. Banks are still denying non-white communities access to fair credit from the 1930s until now. But no one teaches this in school. The redlining case files breaks it all down. Real cases, real consequences, and real receipts. Learn how redlining still shapes your community today. If you're white, non-white, or just care about justice, you need this guide. Download the redlining case files now. What's happening? Thank y'all for tapping into the Constructive House channel, where we promote balance between all people, guaranteeing that those that need the most help get the most constructive help in all areas of people activity. And today's segment is going to be from our Behind the Lines playlist, where we discuss lending discrimination and redlining, as we believe it is very constructive to bring you awareness of anyone who's practicing these actions. All right, so today's episode, we'll be discussing a company they call Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. I won't call them a violator just yet, as the case is still going on. However, I do see that the United States Department of Justice and the United States Attorney Office launched a civil rights lawsuit against Fairway. So I found it constructive to go ahead and bring them to the forefront, bring awareness to them, so that way we can still monitor and keep a timeline and see if they do become a violator. Because from the looks of things and from what's uncovered in this investigation, they may have been. But Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation is based out of Birmingham, Alabama. Looks like this investigation was launched last year, the lawsuit rather was launched last year, 2024, by the DOJ in the USA for Northern District, Alabama. And this is a modern redlining case where, they go through the whole little spiel of confusion by illusion, where they create this avoidance tactic, where they just avoid non-white folks and particularly black folks altogether. So it looks like in 2024, the Department of Justice and the United States Attorney Office launched a civil rights lawsuit against Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, accusing the company of engaging in modern day redlining in the Birmingham metropolitan area. Nasty work, Fairway. And the complaint claims that Fairway intentionally avoided serving majority black neighborhoods by refusing to market, staff, or provide equitable mortgage access to those communities. While the case has not yet been resolved in court, the DOJ claims are rooted in detailed lending pattern analysis, branch locations, and internal policies that disproportionately benefited white neighborhoods. So some of the key allegations from Fairway is the service gaps. Fairway allegedly avoided placing loan officers in black neighborhoods across Birmingham, which this is another trend that we see. That's why I keep saying you can dig your hand into that pool of lenders and you'll just scoop out redlining violators. You just scoop them out, lending discriminators. You just scoop them out, violators of the Fair Housing Act. You just scoop out violators of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. You just keep scooping it out more and more and more, because these are violations that continue to go on based on the redlining maps established by the Homeowners Loan Corporation back in 1933, which was headed by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt as a part of the New Deal. And we got a new deal. We got new freeways. We got new everything. New drug houses, new blight, new foreclosures, new everything. And most of all, we got a new generational wealth gap that's continuing to be widened. And it looks here that they may be a violator of helping with that. So let's go over some more allegations here. It looks like Fairway also had some marketing bias, and they failed to market its services to non-white communities while aggressively promoting in white areas. So we know that's a clear classic case of redlining, and it's the refined redlining where we just do this avoidant tactic. So that way you can't walk in there and they can't overtly tell you, no, get out because you're black. So now they just avoid you altogether and then pretend they're not doing nothing wrong. Oh, I didn't know. Even though you have to send your mortgage reports to the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, and you have to show how you're lending, volume of loans, where the loans are being lent out. All of these, they have so many measurements put in place for these things, that they know who the violators are before they knock on the door. Trust and believe they know. And the companies themselves have all sorts of safeguards to self-check themselves. They don't care. They're doing it on purpose. They're furthering the lending discrimination pattern set forth by the Homeowners Loan Corporation. I'm telling you, I got the receipts, and we'll be breaking them down on some of my lives on the Neighborhood Watch series. But right now, we're on Behind the Lines. Right now, we being constructive. Right now, we promoting those that need the most help, getting the most constructive help, balance between all people in all areas of activity. And let's get back into some of these key allegations. Looks like they also had some loan volume disparity, and statistical disparity showed that black applicants were underrepresented and underserved compared to similar peer lenders. And Fairway, we know it's discussing nasty work. Y'all out there in Birmingham taking advantage of underserved communities, in particular black communities. And me as someone black, I'm going to make sure that my people do get awareness around this, because this is kind of ridiculous, nasty work, very dishonorable, and so non-constructive. But it looks like another key allegation here was geographic redlining. I mean, we're talking about throwback. This is throwback. They said to hell with just avoiding. We also gonna do some geographic redlining. We're gonna draw a red line on you anyway, whether it's physically or fictionally. But they drew a red line. It looks like the physical footprint of Fairway's operations bypassed entire zip codes with majority black populations. I mean, they just avoided. You drew a red line and said, we're not doing no loans here. Knock knock. Can I get a mortgage? No one's here. Good old Fairway Independent Mortgage. But it looks like USA Prim F. Escalona left a quote here that says Fairway's practices effectively shut the door of home ownership on communities of color in Birmingham. And we see this case more and more and more often, and they're going through the refinery stage of it, which is avoidance and confusion by illusion. When they got all these safeguards that let you know if you're discriminating, let you know if you're getting hot on being a redliner, they have these at these companies. These lenders have them. They have a whole department that oversees it and then reports it to make sure they are in compliance with the HMDA Act, Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, HMDA. They have a whole team dedicated. I've worked for several lenders. Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. And they're doing this intentionally. That's how they know they can go through and slap them on the wrist. So we don't know what the DP will be. They're still in current status. Looks like this case is still pending litigation. Fairway has not admitted liability, and the court will determine whether the practices violated the Fair Housing Act and the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. If found liable, Fairway could face millions in fines, oversight, and required outreach in impacted communities. And again, I want y'all to quantify these DPs. I need to know exactly what this community outreach is. They need to have somewhere where we can go look at a database and see, all right, these are the communities, these are the people impacted, these are the people helped that were in these impacted areas. Break it down so we can know that you're really following through, and this is not just a slap on the wrist, because it looks like to me, this is just a slap on the wrist. And pay your money and we'll leave you alone, because they know, like I said before, they know they can dig into that pool of lenders and find some redlining. They know they can, because it's something that's been going on. It was set up by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt back in 1933, and they haven't stopped doing it, even though it was banned in 1968. The Fair Housing Act banned redlining, but it's still going on. So now they can't do it in your face. They have to do it by avoiding you, not marketing to you, not letting you get any access to programs, not having any branches in your neighborhood, and not doing any applications for you to even tell you you're denied. Ridiculous, nasty work. Fairway, we on your bumper. Please, until next time, stay constructive. I do ask that if you find that this was a constructive broadcast, please leave a house in the comment section, a wrench in the comment section, a tool in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay constructive.